70% of our planet is covered with water. However, only 3% of the world's water is fresh water, and two-thirds of that is unavailable for our use. Consequently, some 1.1 billion people worldwide lack access to water, and a total of 2.7 billion suffer a lack of water for at least 1 month of the year. However, many people do not take the issue of water shortage seriously and often regard it as irrelevant to themselves. Although we know in our head the devastating numbers of people dying from lack of clean water, it is hard to grasp when in our country it seems that no one is suffering severe dehydration or inadequate sanitation. It just doesn't feel like an issue when we do not feel our own skin crawling with the uncomfortable dryness. But we must remember the earth is not divided. It is actually closely connected, which is precisely the reason why none of us will be free from these problems if we do not take a step to fight them. Countries like India and Africa were simply first to experience it, but any one of us could be the next. The very proof of this lies in the country that our own friend is in.
Water shortage is also a cause of environmental injustice. This news clip is a good demonstration of it.
Some 60 million people is dying. The Mekong is one of the world's largest river systems, but man-made construction activity in the form of dams is slowly choking the river. Nearly 5,000 kilometers long, the river flows through 6 countries: China, Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and Cambodia.
There is an ongoing problem for several countries within Southeast Asia being threatened by the Chinese dams that are consistently being constructed in the Mekong River, including the area that our own friend is living in, as seen in the news previously. Evidence continues to show that China's dams have a huge impact to those countries, that between 1992 and 2019, China's Mekong dams held back several times more water than they released in the last 30 years. Here is a graph that tells us how much water has been consistently held back in greater amounts. The graph shows that the lines diverge specifically during the period when the new Nodradu Dam was created in 2012. Since the blue line is above the orange line, this indicates that there is a less amount of water flowing through the river than the expected amount, because the Chinese dams took up all the water that flows through the river. As you can see, limited access to water is not about water pollution, climate change, drought, or any natural causes that we normally think are associated with water shortage. Someone's selfish behavior can cause detrimental effects to not only the community around it, but on a national level.
So by looking at the issues associated with water, we can identify social and economic problems that our society has. There are many environmental injustices such as mining, oil refining, etc. that waste water in the same region that lacks drinking water. In order to prevent this from happening, we need extensive measures such as strict regulations and restrictions. But it is ironic that the people who have the power to change this injustice usually have access to clean water all the time, including us. So even if you say, save the ocean, do not pollute water, it is not a direct and imminent danger that we can actually feel. On the contrary, air pollution is something that we can all see, regardless of race, wealth, or region. That is why there are so many initiatives that we implement to reduce carbon footprint and keep air clean. Many cities are prohibiting gasoline vehicles from entering the city, ban a certain chemical from being used. And those are the types of initiatives for water that we need in order to fight for justice. It is not easy to present a solution, but if many people can see the world with water as its land, the need for legislative actions will reach a consensus. By acknowledging these facts through this project, we will now grow up as conscious adults with an objective in our mind, to someday implement global measures that can resolve these issues and change the world, little by little.